more than just pleasing to the eye. Color can be used to communicate messages quickly and efficiently.
But figuring out a way to communicate using color can be a little difficult. For example, it would be confusing, wouldn't it, if a sign labeled blueberries was red and a sign labeled strawberries was blue? We have associations with colors, whether we know that or not. UW psychology professor Karen Schloss of the Wisconsin Institutes for Discovery is looking into research using recycling bins as a test case for this. Karen, nice to see you. Welcome to Live at 4.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
So what is the question that you're trying to answer?
Generally, we're interested in how people interpret messages in colors. And specifically for this study, we were interested in how people interpret color coding systems. So if you give people a color coding system, say for recycling bins, with no labels, can people interpret the meanings of the colors just based only on the color? So if you have bins for, say, paper, glass, and trash, can we color them in a way where you know exactly where to throw things away without any labels or other hints to tell you the correct answer?
And what'd you find?
We found that we can. So the best colors turned out to be white for paper, a light bluish green for glass, surprisingly red for plastic, green for compost, metal was gray, and trash was black. But the interesting thing is that sometimes we don't want to use the colors that are most strongly associated with the objects because those colors are confusable. So gray is really strongly associated with both plastic and glass, which means gray is not a good color to use, and so it's actually better to use colors that are less weakly associated but less confusing.
And colors are so important. We look at weather maps, we look at political parties. The red and blue, that's all made up.
Yes, absolutely.
The network television is made up red and blue for the Democratic and Republican parties.
Right, so once we assign colors to a meaning, then people have that meaning in their minds and they use it when they're interpreting colors in the future.
So what is the goal of your research and your study?
So from a theoretical perspective, our goal is to understand how people make inferences from colors, how colors influence the way we interpret and evaluate the world around us. And from a practical sense, how can we use colors to make the world easier to navigate? So if we make color coding systems that are intuitive, where we don't need legends or labels to tell us what the colors mean, then we can interpret the world more effectively.
And that's an important message to get across. Red means stop, green means go. I mean, if we didn't all interpret that the same way, there could be some problems on the road.
Right, but the problem is that red can mean lots of different things depending on the context. So red means UW Badgers. It means stop. It means stop.
It means the Republican Party?
It does. It means blood. It means ripe strawberries in the summer. And so the problem that we have as humans is to figure out what colors mean in a particular context.
So was there anything so far that really surprised you that you discovered studying this topic?
Well, in this case, the red plastic association was surprising because red is not strongly associated with plastic at all, yet it's the best color to use for plastic. And so Laurent Lessard, my collaborator also at UW-Madison, used an optimization procedure to figure out that red actually was the best color for plastic. And that's because it's so poorly associated with all of the other objects. So it's not associated with glass or paper at all. So because it's weakly associated with plastic, people actually can interpret that that's the right color.
Maybe it's those red plastic cups that they drink beer out of.
That could be.
It could be. You never know. Very interesting study.
Very interesting, yeah.
Right.
Karen, thank you for coming in. Have a good weekend.
Thank you so much.
Great to see you.
We'll be right back with a